welcome to the show. So what's been happening? Well, we have a new leader.
Rishi Sunak gets to work. Our new Prime Minister says he's going to fix the mistakes.
He will be our third Prime Minister in 2 months. Can he convince the country that did not elect him?
So? How do people feel about Rishi replacing Liz?
It's like choosing which bit of carrot you want to eat out of a pile of sick.
Welcome to Britain. It is a buffet of vomit. What a mess, man. We've had 3 Prime Ministers in 7 weeks. We had the bullshitting baboon, the talentless turtle, and now we have a leader who's so awkward he ends speeches like a broken robot.
And I will work day in, day out to deliver for the British people.
He can't even wave like a human. I mean, what the hell is this? And if you think that's strange, did you hear about his childhood? Rishi Sunak ate pizza watching Baywatch on plastic blanket as a child. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? How horny was he as a teenager? He had to watch Baywatch on a plastic blanket. Jesus. His poor parents. I'll be ready. Oh, God, it started. Fetch his wang rag. Right, no wonder he can't wave properly. He nearly broke his hand. Tugging in the 90s. Mind you, let's not muck around. His appointment is definitely a historic event.
He will be the first British Asian to make it to number 10.
It just shows how we are a multicultural nation, how everybody is accepted and included within our nation.
Exactly. It's just a shame that Joe Biden can't pronounce his name.
We've got news. Rashid Sunak is now the Prime Minister.
Rashid Sunak, it's not even close. If he meets the ruler of Dubai, his head will explode. Mind you, the British public weren't much better.
Who are you a fan of for leader?
Rishi Sunak.
Rishi Sunak.
Rishi Sunak.
Rishi Sunak.
Rishi Sunak.
Sunak was it?
Ricky, Nicky, Nooner, some bollocks. Come here, Ricky Rada, Ricky, Roo-Rah, Ricky, Dicko, Dicka-Licka, Roo-Rah, Dicka-Dum-Bum-Boo. Hey! Why are some people so hopeless with names? It's like when Chelsea signed Cesar Azpilicueta. Did the fans learn to say his name properly? Nope. They called him Dave. Rishi Sunak. It's not tough. If he was called Siobhan Chihuahua, I'd get it. But he's not. And that's a real shame. Fetch Chihuahua's Matt, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just his name. Judging by this sand sculpture, some people don't know what he looks like. Like, how is that Rishi? It looks nothing like him. It looks like Tony Blair on a fucking dartboard. Mind you, it's better than the one they did of Boris Johnson. Talking of which, did you see the leadership race? There was a moment when it looked like he might be coming back. Some people lost their minds.
Bring back Boris.
Bring back Boris.
Bring back Boris.
Bring back Boris.
Let's put the crazy fool back in.
I mean, one man was so convinced Boris Johnson would return as PM after spotting his face in a chicken korma. Do you want to see it? Yes! Enjoy. There you go. And that is why you don't eat curry when you're on acid. Did you see the photo that Boris released to show that he was ready for action? It's phenomenal. Look at his eyes. It's like he's just been cavity searched and that's the thumb they used to crack him open. Now, luckily, we didn't end up with Boris. We've got Rishi. So what do people think of him? Well, a survey asked the public to sum him up in a single word.
Rich is the overwhelming word, alongside capable, OK, good and clever.
But if you look a little bit closer, you'll find the words smarmy, privileged and greedy cunt, which apparently were the original names for these guys. No wonder everyone said the word rich. You won't know this, but Rishi and his missus are absolutely minted. Did you know the couple's £730 million fortune means they have double that of King Charles? He's twice as rich as the king. He'll be the first prime minister in history at the palace like, this place is a shitter. My God, you've only got 4 butlers. How do you live like this? Place is like a crack den. Oh! Is that your dealer? That's my wife, you son of a bitch. But, you know, if you do want some heavy-duty stuff, Camilla can get it. In fact, we took some the other day. We saw fucking Boris Johnson in the curry, man. It's wild. It's mental, isn't it? He's twice as rich as the king. Did you know, this will blow your mind, Rishi has got a £400,000 pool and spa in his weekend home. His weekend home. He has different houses for different days of the week. And the one he stays in the least has a fucking spa in it. What's he got in his actual house? A Baywatch tug rug made of gold? What I'm trying to say, he's not exactly in touch, as you can tell from this interview from his school days.
You know, I have friends who are aristocrats, I have friends who are upper class, I have friends who are, you know, working class, but... I'm not working class, but...
They're not working class, I don't want to catch poor off them, yeah? I mean, Christ, he doesn't even know how to do basic things. Rishi Sunak admits someone had to teach him how to use a contactless bank card. Like, how hard is that? What was he doing before? Just doing... Mind you, mate, if you think that's a cock-up, listen to the music his team chose for his first day in office video. And people noticed it sounded very much like this. Now, I'm no expert. But if you want to make a good impression, probably not the best idea to use something that sounds a lot like the greatest hits of a kiddie fiddler. Do you want to be in my gang? No. Wouldn't it be great if they fixed it by using this? Mind you, whatever people think of Rishi, fair to say, they're certainly glad of one thing.
The Prime Minister, Liz Truss, has just resigned.
I know, I'm just arriving. Has she resigned now, has she? Oh, she's gone.
Great. At last.
Oh, marvellous.
I couldn't wait for her to go.
Oh, it's happened. She's gone.
Brilliant.
What do you think? Good. She was rubbish.
Absolute cack, mate. And yet, unbelievably, she's entitled to £115,000 a year, despite only serving 45 days as PM. She tanked the economy, she broke the housing market, and now she's got an allowance of 115 grand every year for the rest of her life. I did 65 days at Tesco. Mate, they wouldn't even let me keep my name badge. Which I was gutted about, because this is what I was known as back then. Christ. The only way Liz could be more unpopular would be if she formed a band with these two. Elsewhere this week, big news in the world of technology.
Elon Musk has completed his £38 billion takeover of Twitter after months of going back and forth over the deal.
And he announced it with one of the shittest jokes ever told.
In a video on his own Twitter feed, he carried a sink into the building and captioned the video, "Let that sink in."
I know, the only way that could have been worse was if he used this music. that sink in. Imagine working for a dickhead like that. He's just dropping some money on the floor. I'm gonna change this place. Look at me, look at me. I'm turning this place around. Laugh or I'll fucking fire you! Do you know the maddest thing? Do you see why he wanted to buy Twitter?
He says he's buying Twitter to help humanity.
If you want to help humanity, find the cure for cancer, tackle climate change. Like there's people in flooded homes in Pakistan go, don't worry, Elon Musk has bought a platform for shouty wankers. We're going to be all right. How's he helping humanity? Reportedly, by letting some banned people back on Twitter. People like head of the Ku Klux Klan, David Duke, school shooting denier Alex Jones, and possibly the worst US president of all time, Donald Trump. Thanks to Elon Musk, we can look forward to more of this kind of wisdom.
Kidney has a very special place in the heart.
I know words, I have the best words. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation.
Infantrymen, criminal, applicable. I'm not a big fan of sharks either. A wheel is older than a wall.
You can shoot me, but you'll have to kill us all. Something.
Hooray for humanity. This week on Playground Politics, me and the kids spoke about climate change with a very special guest. This is Greta, my name's Russell.
Greta?
Yeah.
Well, my sister's a big fan.
Oh, nice. Say hi to her for me.
Does your sister like me, or...? That sounded really weird. Are you worried about the planet?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, a lot. Because people are not doing very good right now. I actually am, because the environment, there's so much cars driving at the moment in every country, and also in some countries it's flooding.
When you were saying that, she was describing terrible things, but because you've got such a lovely face, I was like, that sounds really quite nice. Do you know what I mean?
I felt the same way. The name, climate change, just sounds like the change doesn't make anything different.
What do you suggest, then?
The planet killer.
Wow.
Or world devourer.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
What about, I've often thought, is there a way, instead of getting rid of cars, we could have, like, weasels, badgers?
Otters.
Just dragging people. Is that something you could stand behind?
All I was thinking is maybe getting bigger animals.
What kind of animals?
Good.
Maybe elephants.
Elephants, I like that, yeah.
Quick question. What if it's a small road?
If it's a small road, then maybe crocodile.
A crocodile?
Yes.
What we've got to do is figure out a way of getting crocodiles ethically to Britain.
Maybe you could just get a plane, maybe.
We can't get a plane.
Steal one.
Not here, mate.
How do we know?
How dare you?
You know, when like you buy something, yeah, and it says it's recycled. I actually don't believe it's recycled. I think they just made like 1 trillion new ones and just say, oh, it's recycled.
But that's quite cynical, because it will be recycled.
I don't think
Not necessary.
Uh-huh.
Everything doesn't end up recycled. Some of it are being burned for energy. I mean, sometimes people just say something because it sounds nice. It's called greenwashing.
Oh, right.
You paint something green and say that this is sustainable, but it's actually just the color green.
Imagine if there was a fire in the middle and it was rising up. Oh, no. As tall as the sun.
Yeah. Is this...
Or as fat as the sun.
Does that feel like how you feel when you're talking to world leaders? Because it's like you said something and then Boris went, well, imagine if there was a fire.
Yes.
The British government have banned any kind of noisy protest. Can you figure out a way to have a protest without making a noise?
Write some signs.
What are the signs that you'd have to entice us so we're walking along?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe there's no planet B.
There's no...
That's a very...
Sounds like one of yours.
Yeah.
Nothing about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not very original.
I have a book of you, Greta.
Oh,
Nice.
You got any of my DVDs? Or? Yeah.
I don't think so.
If we do have to move to another planet, should everyone be allowed to come?
Nope.
So if Greta was trying to get into the planet, what questions would you ask her?
Are you a good guy?
Yes.
Do you have M&Ms in your bag?
Good question. Finally, we're getting to the crux of the matter. Empty your pockets.
Empty your pockets. Give me the M&Ms.
I don't have any M&Ms. I guess I'm not getting into the planet.
You do look quite similar.
We do look quite similar.
If I didn't know who you were, I would guess you to a, like, daughter.
Daughter?
Yeah. If I didn't know who you were...
Mate, that's when you know you're getting old. I thought it was going to be sister at least. Daughter. And I'm delighted to say that Greta joins us now. Please welcome one of the most inspiring voices of our times, Greta Thunberg! Nice to see you.
You too?
How much fun was that?
It was really fun.
Yeah. What I loved most about it was because they were kids. Like, most people treat you, obviously, with a real reverence, but because they were, like, 6, quickly, they were like, who's she? Like, was that kind of nice to just be like...
It is very nice.
Yeah. And the thing that I remember as well, we will get on to serious matters, but was when we found out what was in your wardrobe. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Do you want to tell everyone what was in your wardrobe?
I've got beans.
It was just beans and milk.
Yeah.
So just beans and milk in a wardrobe. And I think one of the kids pointed out that it sounded like a bleak Narnia. But I was curious, is there more stuff in the wardrobe, or is it still scarce?
I've got even more beans now. I also save them for my friends. I have a specific friend who, every time they get to my place, I give them beans.
Well, do you mind if I ask why? Do they need more fibre in their diet?
We're both autistic.
OK.
That says a lot.
Does it? What, autistic people like beans?
In my experience, at least.
I mean, does anyone else feel uneasy? Because I've never had this conversation before, and it feels like, you know, we're very much walking on ice. But my brain wants to know, so why do autistic people like beans? Are you counting them? I don't know, it's just like... Well, genuinely, if that's the thing. Because if I meet somebody who's autistic now, I want to be able to say with confidence, I go, do you like beans? And if they go, how fucking dare you? I can't go. But if they go, you like beans, huh? And they're like, yeah. Greta Thunberg.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm all ears.
When I was sailing across the Atlantic Ocean...
It's a good start to any bean story.
I didn't have much to do, so I sat there and ate one bean at a time. And then that became some kind of comfort food. Wow. So when I'm stressed, I eat beans one at a time.
This is phenomenal. Why wasn't that in Castaway with Tom Hanks?
That's a good question. They should replace that volleyball.
Yeah. Now, you're here to talk about the climate book. I've read it. It's fantastic. It's not just you. It's you and basically like 100 other scientists and people you admire, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. The whole idea of the book is a kind of... for some reason, have a platform that I can use. So I create a book where I invite people, some of the world's most leading scientists and people who are experiencing the first-hand consequences of the climate emergency, for them to share their expertise and to tell their stories.
So I read it, and it's a real barrage of worry, which is what you could have called it. But... But it just, you know, it was like, wow. It was like this kind of onslaught. It almost feels like the book is like this collection of almost, if you want to know lots of little things about climate, this is the place to go to. Is that fair?
Kind of, I guess, because so many times people approach me and ask, like, I want to get more involved in the climate issue and I want to learn more, but I don't know where to start. Yeah. And so I've never had the kind of, like, you read this, you find lots of stuff in there. Yeah. So I wanted to create that myself. And as you say,
there's some quite heavy stuff in there, but I believe that we can only actually do something, we can only change if we do understand the situation we are in. So it's not only something to provide us with information, but also a call to action.
Yeah, because that's what it felt like. The whole thing is about trying to recognise that we're in the middle of an emergency.
Yeah, exactly. Because it feels like we're still in a state of denial. The climate crisis is treated as a side topic. It's not present everywhere as it would be if we were treated as an existential crisis.
Yeah. Because the thing that got me, I was sort of reading it and I just felt, maybe it's that I felt old.
Could be.
Yeah, there you go. I walked onto that. But I sort of read it with this, like, I was curious as to how do you ever feel despair? Because you always seem like you're full of hope. Because I was sort of reading it going, wow, so the richest 1% emit 50% of carbon emissions. God, how do we stop doing them? Okay, so if I become vegan, that feels like a small thing. Do you know what I mean? I was sort of, I felt a bit helpless.
Yeah. I mean, this feeling despair is a luxury. It's a privilege. The fact that we have an option to take action shows that we have a privilege, which means that we need to use that. We are not the ones who are experiencing the consequences of the climate emergency. We see it as a faraway topic. Many people around the world, countless of people around the world, are already suffering and are risking losing their lives and livelihoods from it. And so despair is just not an option.
And do you wake up with that sense of purpose every day?
It's definitely a marathon, and you have to know that from the beginning what you get yourself into, which I didn't.
How old were you?
I was 15 when I started school striking, and I was just like, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go school strike. I didn't really think like, oh, this might lead to a global movement, but it did. And no one would have been able to see that coming.
What is that like when your single action explodes into this kind of global movement? What is that like for you?
I mean, it's not really possible to describe. I mean, the contrast is so big, so it's like it takes a while to get used to.
Because you were like, you only really spoke to your parents, didn't you?
Yeah, I had selective mutism. I couldn't speak to people other than my parents, my sister, and one of my teachers.
Yeah.
And going from that to try to speak to the whole world is different.
But just unbelievable in terms of that sort of trajectory. Crazy.
But also, it was definitely stepping out of my comfort zone. But then I thought, like, well, we're in an existential crisis. People are dying. Like, the least I can do is to step out of my comfort zone and do a few interviews.
The other thing I found fascinating is that you're not actually making any money from this book, are you?
No, because all the royalties that I would have made will go to charity.
Yeah, right. So how do you earn money?
Study, because you get money for studying.
Do you? What a country. In Sweden, they pay you to study?
Yeah.
What a fucking world.
Not much.
No, but, you know, it's more than here. We have to pay to study. It's only when you say it like that you realise how mental it is.
Yeah.
Do you want to read a book? Yeah, it costs you 50 grand. Seems fair, and there'll be interest on that. OK.
Yeah.
But so basically, you're still at school.
Yes. And
you're a full-time activist.
Yes.
So what are your ways of relaxing?
I make frog hats.
OK. 4 frogs?
No.
That was a little grunt. So nice to hear a grunt. That's when you know someone's really enjoying themselves. That's the first time I've ever met someone as famous as you go... delightful to hear. But it's just... That's when you know someone who's really having fun, because you don't want to make that noise. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's going to be all right. There's something... I don't know what it is. I've genuinely, my favourite, this sounds weird, I love it when I make old ladies laugh so much they wet themselves. Like, I don't know why, but honestly, it's that moment. There'll be a few in here today, but And you can see their eyes like that. They're kind of... And you're like, it's coming, it's coming. Get ready, Margaret, get ready. You grunt away, enjoy yourself. I love that. Do you feel 19, or do you feel like you've packed so much more into your life so far?
I definitely don't feel like 19.
Yeah.
It's like one day it's 10 and the other day it's like 70.
Right.
There's no in between.
Yeah, yeah. Which, I mean, yeah, exactly, because you're like speaking with such passion, such authority, such knowledge, and then frog hats. Now, what I love about us, other than, you know, the fact that people think I look like your dad, do I look like your dad?
No, you do not.
OK. But what does your dad look like?
He looks like me, but older with beard.
With a beard? See, I can't... All right, mate. So I can't grow a beard. It kind of is all gingery and it just... So, we've actually got something in common. That there's been lots of conspiracy theories about us, more about you, but there's been a few about me. That there's a rumour that it's in the Daily Star, which is a national newspaper here, that I wanted to open a gym for... specifically, a gym for pensioners, and there was another that I was a Scientologist, and there was another one that I'd been in a pornographic film. And, you know, and I've never opened a gym. So the thing is, but my favourite conspiracy theory about you is that this is not the first time you've been on this earth. That, in fact, Greta was here in 1898, and she's a time traveller. It does look like you, though.
Yeah, I mean...
It's got this, the hair's...
From a distance, yeah.
Yeah? What would you do if you could travel? I mean, it's a random question. If you could time travel, where would you go?
I mean, I don't know. It feels like this is a very decisive time in human history. It is during this decade, what we do during this decade and what we don't do, that will define the future of humanity for the coming centuries and millennia.
Yeah.
It feels like this is a good time to be active.
Yeah, yeah. Now, there's a photo of you and me that I put up on my Instagram. And, you know, I would say, like, 90% of people were like, oh, that's really cool, blah, blah, blah. But it was a real window into... There's a lot of venom towards you. How is that, dealing with that level of sort of... And it's mostly kind of old men that seem to really have a problem with you.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? But, like, for me, it's like I can just go in there and just have free meme material.
Right. I mean, that's...
Unlimited.
Yeah, yeah. So hang on. So if they give you a meme, and by the way, you've just created a meme, because you just did that on telly. So there's now going to be people in strip clubs doing the Greta. So is that what you do? So if someone makes a meme about you, you try and own it?
Of course, yeah. I share it with my friends, and then I take credit for it. And they're like, oh, where did you find that?
Oh, really? Oh, superb.
I mean, it's a bit weird when among the most powerful people in the world, and also just like people generally like heterosexual, cis, white, privileged, middle-aged men who feel so threatened by kind of children, teenagers, just stating facts that they feel like they must send some kind of letter or just kind of vent online.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Isn't it? There is something really strange about it. I don't understand, but you're so bang on. It's like children with facts would appear to be the most terrifying thing.
Yeah.
To a certain type of
they wouldn't be spending their time doing that if they didn't feel threatened by it, if they didn't feel like we had an impact.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another question. This is a slightly random one, and I need you to imagine something. So there is no climate crisis. Everything is hunky-dory. It's all
What is
fine.
that?
Hunky-dory, oh, yeah. So it's only when you say that out loud that I find myself really struggling. But for whatever reason, in England, we have a phrase called hunky-dory, which means it's all right.
Okay.
And I don't know why.
Kind of like alltid tip-top.
Yes, also, it's like, this is what I love about travelling. I remember my friend, Kumar, we were in Sweden, in Stockholm, and he used the phrase pussyfooting. And, yeah, see, here, fine. But in Sweden, to a waitress, a pussyfooter sounds like someone who's going to do something really peculiar. But it means, actually, to dilly-dally. Just another word that means nothing. Anyway, so the world is tickety-boo, and it's fine. Like, there's no climate...
Yeah.
What would you do if you didn't have to be an activist?
I would make even more frog hats.
Right. And there you go. That's what we do.
While I was doing that, I would also enjoy just going to school like everyone else, having maybe a regular job, trying to do something to help people, and not having to spend all my time just to try to fight against the possible destruction of our civilization as we know it. It would be nice to have some kind of...
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you watch a box set when that's in the back of your head? I read a lovely story about you, that there's always a song playing in your head when you meet people. Is that right?
All the time, just...
And is that two things? Is that a coping mechanism? And two, what's the song currently playing?
I do think it's a coping mechanism because that makes me be able to... If you're like in a press crush, that's what we call it in FFF, when you're just surrounded by press and you can't move.
Yeah.
Or something like that. To have something to go through, it makes you cope with it. Today I have a Swedish song by a Swedish artist I don't expect you to know. It's by Säker, it's called Får jag.
Får jag. How does it go?
I don't. That's offensive.
I went, is it? I was trying to... What does... So, får jag.
Får jag.
Får jag.
Like, may I, kind of.
May I? So what did I say? I have. Får jag. That's what I heard. I heard får jag. So is that what's been going on in your head while we've been chatting? Får jag. Yeah. How does it go?
It's
Because I'm hearing får jag, får jag, får jag, får jag, får jag. Am I close?
Not really, no.
Is it more får to the jag, to the jag, to the får?
No, it's like, får jag träffa dig ikväll? Jag har ingen anledning till det. It's Swedish, so it sounds like bogus.
No, it sounds lovely, and it sounds very calming.
It is.
And what's next? This is the last thing you're doing on this sort of latest publicity.
Yeah, I have break from school now, autumn break.
Half term.
Yeah. So then I will go back for Sweden tomorrow. It's like a 35-hour train journey. And then I will go to do some stuff there, and then I start school on Monday again. Hype!
This is what I love about you. So you have this... So are you as into your studies as you are trying to save the planet?
Unfortunately, yes.
So what's the big thing you love at the minute? I used to love war poetry. That really got me off. Like, as a kid. As in... All right, just ignore those pigs. I remember that was the first time Dulce decorum est pro patria mori. I was like, yes, what's that? I was fascinated by it. What's the lesson for you?
I just learning. I like
learning.
And I just like I can be so excited and just bubbly inside, just knowing that I'm gonna go home and have my routines again.
Right. Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But that is such a window into the effort that you put in. Like, given that you clearly, you know, you're autistic, you kind of want, right, you want your school and your beans. And, but do you know what I mean? Like, just kind of like that. But the very fact that you've got showing the bravery to step out of that for the greater good is magnificent. And I think back to when I was 19, I dyed my hair blue and went to Magaluf. Like, now, let's get back to the book. So, The climate book is out now. What is the most important thing, would you say, for people to take from it?
I think the purpose of it is to kind of provide information of the many different sides to the climate crisis and environmental crisis, and to connect these. And I think it's so powerful to have it physically there, because people say all sorts of weird things, and they accuse us of lying and being alarmists, and just to have it black and white, like we have we have truth on our side, we have morality on our side, we have the science on our side, just to have it there, like no matter what they say, this won't change.
Yes.
This is going to be true.
Yeah.
It's just very powerful to have.
What would you say, final question, if somebody came up to you and said, what could I do to help, what would you say?
I would say become an activist, join us on the streets, join the movement, help organize. We need as many as possible. Right now, there are way too few people engaged in this. We are many, we are millions around the world, but we need billions. So in order to change everything, we need everyone.
Lovely stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, one absolutely wonderful chat. Please give it up for the fantastic Greta Thunberg. Thanks so much for watching the show. Good night, my friends. Good night.